My name's Bradley Rowe. I'm the third child, second son of Mack H. Rowe, my father, who was posthumously inducted into the Hall of Fame. When we heard about that, obviously we were all very elated. Our father was dear to us, meant so much to us, even though he's been gone for many years now. We grew up around aviation. We knew the influence and the impact that he had on commercial aviation in Tennessee and actually around the world. And we were just very gracious and very honored that the Tennessee Aviation Hall of Fame bestowed this honor on him.
Tennessee Aviation Hall of Fame is pleased this evening to honor Mack H. Rowe. Aviation was Mack Rowe's passion from the age of 5, and it became his lifelong vocation. During 45 years of flying, he arguably flew more types of aircraft than any other Tennessee pilot. Some documented in logbooks and military records include the P-36, the P-38, the P-39, the P-40, the P-47, the P-51, the P-61, and the P-63. The B-17, the B-25, the B-26, the C-46, C-47, C-54, the C-78, and the ME-109, the Fieseler Stork, the submarine Spitfire, Hawker Hurricane, de Havilland Mosquito, along with numerous civilian aircraft from the Lockheed Lodestar to the Lockheed Constellation. In the early 60s, before the age of corporate jets, Mack used his personal P-51D Mustang for business trips. Mack began flying at the age of 15 at the former McConnell Field under the direction of Louis and Albert Gasser. Later, Mack and his younger brother Gene bought a Curtiss Robin and went barnstorming around the Southeast. When World War II began, Mack's civilian flight experience earned him a direct commission as a first lieutenant. His squadron was shipped overseas to fly in North Africa, Sicily, and Italy. During one mission, flying a P-40, he was forced down in the desert during a sandstorm and was rescued 4 days later. A few days later, he took a crew back, dug it out, patched it up, and flew it back to base without a canopy. In 1946, Mack joined the 105th Air National Guard Fighter Squadron, flying P-47s at Nashville's Berry Field under the command of Colonel G.A. Skeets Gallagher. Later that year, he joined Jesse Stallings and Henry Cannon to start Capitol Airways at Cumberland Field, now Nashville's Metro Center. As chief pilot and ultimately the chief executive officer, Mack guided Capitol Airways from a grass field to an international air carrier with a fleet of DC-8s flying to Europe, Asia, and the Caribbean, employing over 3,800 people worldwide. At its headquarters and heavy maintenance base at Smyrna Airport, Capitol International Airways employed over 700 people. Along the way, Mack made many friends in the aviation community: Bob Hoover, Chuck Yeager, Jackie Cochran, Paul Tibbetts, Bevo Howard, Cornelia Fort, Betty Gorell, Tennessee Hall of Fame member John Ellington, and many more, not only in commercial aviation, but many private pilots, all who shared his great love of aviation, both past and future. Tennessee's late Adjutant General Earl Pate of the Tennessee Air National Guard said, "Mack Rowe probably had more influence on commercial aviation in Nashville than any single person." For his extraordinary and enduring contributions to aviation for Tennessee, our nation, and the world, and for his service to our country, Mack Rowe is honored by and inducted into the Tennessee Aviation Hall of Fame this 12th day of November 2011. Ladies and gentlemen, Bradley Rowe.
I'd like to take this opportunity to thank everyone here. Such a marvelous gala. I know my father if he were still alive, would just really have loved to have been a part of this. And on the behalf of my entire family, I'd like to thank everyone, especially the Tennessee Aviation Hall and Museum, all the board of directors, for bestowing this honor on my father. Many people knew him, his role at Capital Airways, which over the years became one of the largest charter airlines in the world. Many people remember him as directing the fleet of Lockheed Constellations and then later on the DC-8s throughout the world. But there was also another part of his aviation, the aviation industry that he was part of, and that was the fixed base operation in Nashville, Tennessee at Berry Field. Through this, they had many people come through their flying school at this FBO, got their start in aviation, got their training in aviation, myself included. But I think it was this aspect of him. Not only was he part of large transport aircraft, but he was also part of small general aviation aircraft. He liked them all, liked every aspect of aviation. It was truly his passion. I remember one specific part of aviation that his influence that was always through my life, but one specific instance in aviation that I will always recall. Back when I was a young 17-year-old senior in high school, my father allowed me to fly his Beechcraft Bonanza around, so that was pretty cool, you know. 17. One day I was flying around the neighborhood and I happened to see this bridge. And I probably shouldn't say this since the FAA is here. I hope that, but you'll forgive me, but I saw this bridge, and you know what, I'd been thinking about this for some time, so, and really poor timing. I flew my father's Bonanza under the bridge as he was driving across it. So, and the epitome of poor timing, I assure you. And you know, I'm not real sure, but I think if I think back on it, there was probably a young teenage girl that was involved in that decision. So, but I think what really stuck in my mind was the fact that when I got home, of course, I thought the belt was coming off, but all he did was he said, "Son, really disappointed in you." And that's all he could have said, because my father was such a good, fair man and was always one of the best parents somebody could have. That was the most he could have done, was just tell me how disappointed he was. But I did learn what grounding means. Truly in several ways. But I can say for both my sister and my three brothers, who are all sitting here tonight along with their family, that our father was a very devoted and loving parent. No matter how busy he was with his career, he always had time for his family. And I think besides, we grew up in aviation. We saw the late night calls come in. We saw what it took to operate an airline. He was gone a lot, but he always had time for his family. And with that said, I'd just like to thank everyone again for this honor. Thank you very much.